Poor, meek and mild, humble. However, am I going to make it to next Tuesday? Jeff Bezos is very concerned about people asking whether or not he should pay more in taxes because, again, he's just so humble, meek, and mild like Jesus of Nazareth.
And Elizabeth Warren has made this point repeatedly. I think she's made it in reference to you and others. Are able to pay a lower tax rate, even though you're paying an enormous sum in taxes, a lower tax rate than maybe I am.
These people sometimes say that I don't pay taxes. That's not true. I pay billions of dollars in taxes. And it's a perfect, again, if people want me to pay more billions,
right,
then let's have that debate. But don't pretend, that's going to solve the problem. You could double the taxes I pay, and it's not going to help that teacher in Queens. I promise you. So you can't connect those two things, not logically. There are more examples. Why is rent expensive? Why is rent so expensive? I recently saw somebody blamed it on Airbnb. Okay, Airbnb is not the cause of expensive rent. In fact, it's been almost, let me finish here one sec. It's already been outlawed in New York City, and rents are still very high. So we know Airbnb isn't causing high rents. What's really causing high rent is government intervention.
Oh, why is that the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
They've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
But here's the thing.
And Goldman Sachs, when they create new jobs, they do it in Dallas. And Blackstone won't build a new headquarters. And go on and on.
You want to have a workable city? You want to have a city that's vibrant. You want to have a city where the streets are full, where there are things for sale 24 hours a day. Then you need people who can live here and work here.
Well, we've got that right now, by the way. I would point out New York is thriving. So now it's doing pretty well, actually.
I'm glad you think they're doing well because a lot of people are struggling to pay for housing. A lot of people are struggling to pay for groceries. And I got to tell you, mamas and daddies who are facing $25,000 a year to pay for childcare.
Those are national issues. I know they are the local state, but you can't.
New York City.
Yes, but if you deal with them in that way, by what is always your backup, just tax them more, they will leave.
No, the backup is make this city and make this country work for everyone. I get that the Republican point of view is make this country and make every city in this country work better and better for a handful of billionaires and let everybody else eat dirt. But what Mamdani won on in a Democratic primary is he said, I'm going to address affordability. And he didn't win by one vote.
No, he won by a lot. It's very much unclear he has the ability to actually do it, by the way, based on the laws and what the governor has to say and what he would actually have to do.
I love that as the fallback position, and that is he's fighting for the right thing, but maybe the billionaires will have a way to
everybody
block
wants
him.
a more affordable city. There's no doubt about that. The question is how you go.
I actually do have a doubt about that. The
build more
billionaires
housing.
sure don't want to pay their part on this.
I want to ask you, because they do say people have fled to Florida and Texas. Does the city actually suffer in those times? It doesn't seem like millionaires leaving the city is the threat they think it is, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I'd say a couple of things. Look, you always want to be mindful of what's going to happen to the tax base. But I think the question that the mayor-elect Mamdani was asking was, well, working people are already fleeing New York. They're already having to leave New York because they can't afford to live here. And shouldn't we care about that too, right? And his campaign has been explicitly to make this a place where bus drivers, janitors, security guards, teachers, right? People who are kind of keeping the day-to-day running of the city where they have a chance as well. And I think that's the part of the conversation that we too often don't focus enough on, and that's what he's trying to solve for.
I think that's a great point, Lena.
Think about how ridiculous this line of argument is. Even if you double my taxes, it won't help the teacher in Queens, so why do it? You might as well just not raise my taxes at all because it's not going to fix everything. No, brother, we need to raise your damn taxes, okay? We're beyond that point now. The average first-time home buyer in this country is 40 years old. The average new price of a new car is $50,000 or so. The average price of a monthly car note is almost $800 right now. Gas is out of control. People don't have any savings. People are drowning in debt. I mean, like, no. You need to be taxed more. There's no reason for you to be walking around with hundreds of billions of dollars in net worth, 8 yachts, 50 plus mansions around the world. You can only stay in one house at a time, building these bunkers, these compounds, doing all this stuff. No. There's no argument for it. Absolutely none. Y'all shouldn't be taxed more, but we should cut Social Security. We should get rid of that. We should get rid of Medicaid, Medicare. We should get rid of all of these things that the teacher in Queens might desperately need, but we shouldn't tax you more. Nah, man, it's too late for that. It's too late for that. Listen. In the coming years, it might take some time, but we coming, okay? We coming. We gonna raise your taxes. We're gonna increase the regulations because the sad truth is millions of people in the millennial and Gen Z generation are gonna wake up 60 years old with nothing. And we're not gonna want that to be the same story for our grandchildren. That's typically how it goes. Society, people typically come together when there's a lot of, stress and a lot of grief, and they're like, no, we will not pass this on to the future generations. And that's just the time of the cycle that we in now. So, Jeff Bezos, your taxes are going to be raised sooner than later.